Tasha checking in with another video, and this is going to be none other than our weekly review on the show Love After Lockup. This is season 6, episode 4. Diamonds Aren't Forever. If this is your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video, comment in the comment section, and most importantly, subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. Let me fix my little tripod. Okay. All right, y'all. I think we good on the tripod. Now I'm a little late, y'all. Yes, I am. Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope you all are having a great and awesome Sunday. I had a dinner with a friend, and so I needed to be there for her. We needed to have our time, and so that's why I'm coming out a little later than normal. However, I am here, and we're going to review this week's episode. Okay, so hopefully YouTube lets you all know that I'm in the building. Yes, yes. And we're going to get into this episode. If I had to rate this episode on a scale, what's up, Abby? Welcome to the live. If I had to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, yes, you're here. What's up, Joseph? I would give this episode a 7. This episode was not actually that bad. It was actually pretty good, this episode. What's up, Tasha? And we gonna get into it, y'all. Let me know in the comments what y'all gave this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. I gave it a 7. I thought this episode was pretty good. Abby said, I'm so excited. Yay. Me too. Like I said, I was a little late because I had to tend to a friend that needed some girl time, and we had dinner, and now I'm here with you all. Okay, so let's get into this week's episode because it was a lot going on. Okay, we're going to kick it off with Demadric and Kiana, get them out of the way. So y'all know last week Kiana ran in the bathroom taking her mic off, and everybody's like, what the heck is going on, right? So we find out this week that Kiana had got a phone call, and it was from a detective stating that she is involved in damaging Joella's car. Joella went and found a police report saying that her windows had been broken out, her tires had been messed up, and she filed it against Kiana. Now, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that Kiana actually bust the windows out her car Jasmine Sullivan style and flatten her tires, or was it somebody else? Now, I don't see Joella having beef with anybody else. However, I was like, Demadric, did you see her do it? Because if you didn't really see her do it, how could you blame her? However, Kiana has been doing some things that would allude to the fact that she probably did bust the windows out and flatten a girl's tires. Now, y'all let me know what y'all think. I don't know, okay? Producers asked Kiana about it, and she said that she doesn't want to talk about it. I guess she'll talk about it later. We pan up to Joella. She's getting her tires fixed, and they cost her about $625. All right, and Joella had to pay it out of pocket to get her car repaired. She says, this is unfortunate because she has to take her kids to school. She has to get her stuff prepared for her business and all of that, and now she has to deal with this mess with the daggone car. Okay, Kiana goes and tells us that she didn't do it. Finally, she's talking to Demadric, and she said, you know what, Joella probably did it because she wants to be in our relationship so bad. She probably messed up her own car. I didn't have nothing to do with it, okay? Demadric goes to meet up with Joella because he says, you know what, I want to get to the bottom of this and see what happened. He goes over good old Joella's house, and she's up here getting stuff out of her trunk for her business. They go into the house, and Demadric is telling her that Kiana got called by a detective about your car being messed up, and she's saying, yeah, because she messed up my car. Again, he's saying, do you know if she did it? She's like, yes, she probably did do it. She done put nudes of me on her page. She done commented on stuff. She's just been really active. All right, these always get kind of yeah, I mean, people get mad over the craziest things, but I don't know if Kiana actually did it. Like I said, I didn't see her. So Joella says she know they did it. They gonna stop playing in her face, and she pressed charges against Kiana. The mantra goes and then says, you need to. Would you drop this case if I give you $625 for your tires? Okay. Joella was like, I don't know. I mean, I would drop it if she would apologize and all that other stuff. Okay, that's not happening. happening, Demadric, she said, Demadric, well, give me the money. If you give me the money, then I'll drop it. Demadric is a lot of fluff because he was looking like he didn't really have the money. And I don't think he really has the money. And that's why Joella said, give me the money up front. And I may think about dropping the charges. Kiana says, do not bring her to our child's birthday party coming up. Demadric goes and says, well, we're going to be there. So now Demadric is adding more fuel to the fire because he is up here talking about he going to bring Kiana to the party. My thing is, why the heck you going to bring that girl to the party after this situation? See, Demadric is one of those dudes that just want to be in the middle and have two women fighting over him and doing the most for no reason. Okay, do not bring that lady to that woman's party. It is just going to get active. You're going to turn it from being about your son to it being about these two women and you. And that's not the way you should roll. Your children already had to live without you for a certain period of time. Focus on the boy's birthday party. Okay. So anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think. That's all that happened with them. Do y'all think that Kiana actually did it? If Kiana did actually do it, Joella is pressing charges against her. She already filed a police report. So it's more than likely that Kiana is probably going to have to, they're going to have to go to court, and they're probably going to have to do like a Judge Mathis style and figure this out if she did it or if she didn't do it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wouldn't put it past her. Even Demadric is starting to say, look, he can't be involved in the mess between them because he just fresh out of prison himself. Okay. But we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the next couple. All right. Next couple up, y'all. Next couple up. Y'all know I take notes. Give me a second. We're going to talk about Will and Courtney. All right. We opened up with Will and Courtney. Mark is up here calling Will a loser for breaking up with Courtney. Let me just say this. I was on Courtney's side last week, and I'm kind of back on Will's side this week. It's like they bouncing me back and forth between sides because I'm just kind of like, I'm not trying to take a side for real. Both of them are toxic. Both of them are a little cuckoo off their rocker. But I could see why Will would divorce Courtney. Now, I still agree that he married her, so he is her husband. So he should have been there to take care of her. He took vows for better or for worse, right? At the same time, though, Courtney did a lot of stuff on this episode that made me believe that Courtney is in a world of trouble and has a lot going on, right? Because Courtney is at this point in her life where she would do anything for the good old money. Okay. And we saw this through multiple things that she did on this episode. So Mark is up here driving her around, of course, being her yes man. Okay. She says that she is moving into some emergency temporary halfway house housing that her sponsor found her. Okay. Mark is driving her to go to the halfway house. She's up here saying, but it's only temporary. How do people have the crowns next to the name? What's up, Crowny? I have no idea. I actually have no idea. I think it's when you comment and then like your number two, Abby's number one. So I think they just give you those crowns and everything based off of how much. It's like a top fans. That's what it is. It's top fans. So your number two top fan, Abby is number one, and as people comment, it just fluctuates between the comments. I think that's what it is. So it's something new that when you go live on YouTube that they added. Okay. So what else happened? Mark is up here saying that he is here for her, of course, being the yes man, being everything that she wants and needs. And he's like, why don't you just move in with me? I said, Mark, stop trying to make this relationship happen because she does not want to be with you, sir. Okay. So she says up here says, no, I'm not going to move in with you. I want to have my own sense of independence. Okay. And I understand what Courtney means. She says every time she has moved in, yes, you're number one now. Every time she has moved in with a man, they have always wanted something. Mark says, it's not going to be like that. I'm not going to try to push up on you. Yes, you are, Mark. If you are bringing her into your house, it's not going to start off that way. But you're going to be creeping in the middle of the night, trying to see if you could fill up on Courtney's booty and all of that. Okay. I already know, Mark, what type of guy that you are. Mark tells us in a confessional that he could see a future with Courtney. And I'm trying to figure out what has this woman done that makes you think that you can actually, thank you for subscribing, Clowny, thank you so much, that you can actually see yourself with Courtney. Courtney doesn't want to be with you, Mark, and I don't understand why you just don't get it. Okay. Mark says that his pockets are open, which makes Courtney believe, I don't know what that was, y'all. Something loud just happened outside. I don't know what they doing. There's always something around here. But anyway, Mark says that his pockets are open, that he can see a future with her, that he'll do anything for her and all this stuff. Mark doesn't get it. You are a pick Misha, Mark. She's only using you for your money, okay? Courtney feels like she says to Mark that it was better when she was locked up. And Mark says, don't talk like that. No one should want to be, saying that it's better when they're locked up and everything. Mark says he's going hard for her, and she's going to have a hard time getting rid of him. So Mark is going to turn into some freaking stalker. Courtney's probably going to have to get a restraining order against Mark because he said it's going to be hard for her to get rid of him. Do you have kids, and what are you talking about? I'm talking about Life After Lockup. This is a review for a show that comes on, and yes, I have a daughter. So Will is on his way to speak with an attorney. Fast forward to Will. He's on his way to speak with an attorney about filing divorce papers against Courtney. Okay. We pan back over to Courtney, and Courtney is with her friend Mac. Now, Mac gave me vibes. Okay. Mac made me feel like she was like a past girlfriend of Courtney's or something. She looked like she was high and tired and old at the same time. Okay. So they're riding in the car. Mac is taking her around, and now we find out that Courtney has got some type of house or room rented or something that Mark did for her. So I'm like, Courtney, what happened to the halfway house? I guess this is like weeks in between or something like that. Maybe the editing was off, but now she's getting driven to a room that she's going to rent that Mark hooked up for her. So before she gets to that room, right, she wants to stop by the pawn shop to pawn the wedding ring that Will had gave her, because of course Will said he wanted to break up with her and their marriage is over. So we pan back over to Will. He is seeing the lawyer. He's telling the lawyer the whole story about how they got married and how she was in prison and how this and this and that. The lawyer is saying, how long were y'all married? He says 6 weeks. They were only married 6 weeks. And this is what you get, Will, and why I don't feel sorry for you, because you should have waited to get to know this woman. She got straight out of prison and you went and married her. You don't even know her in the free world. You've just been a pen pal. All of them prisoners and people locked up had that jail lingo down packed. So why would you sit up here and think that when as soon as she got out, she was going to be Molly Homemaker? I've said this several times. It is your own fault, Will, why this is going down. Okay. So Will says they've been married 6 weeks. And he's asking the lawyer, does he have to pay her alimony? See, Will is very cheap, very stingy. He don't want to have to give Courtney a daggone thing, okay? But you did it to yourself, Will, because you shouldn't have married the lady straight out of Compton. So the lawyer says that he doesn't have to pay her anything because it was only 6 weeks. Okay. He says, was it fraud? Was the relationship fraud? Will goes and says he believes it was fraud because she made it seem like she wanted to be with him. She was up here saying that she was only dealing with Will, but then come to find out she had all these sugar daddies and stuff. And I think Will is lying, because I know Courtney told him that she had other people that she was talking to while she was locked up. But Will thought, well, if I give her more money, put a ring on it, when she gets out, she'll only be mine. Will knew that she was messing with other people, but he's trying to allude to the fact that she was doing some type of fraud, and that's what it is about. We pan back over to Courtney. She's riding in the car with Mac, her friend. We find out that they were both locked up together. And when they were locked up together, Courtney said they did some things. So y'all was scissoring in prison. That's what I'm hearing from the whole situation, right? And so we pan back over to Will. Will is up here saying, the lawyer says, listen, if you want to use me in your divorce hearing, it's going to be a $5,000 retainer. Will eyebrow went up, and Will was like, well, what if I do it myself? He says that, well, my advice is that you get a quick divorce. You can go serve Courtney yourself, okay? And it'll probably come out cheaper. Okay, so Courtney, we pan back to Courtney. Courtney's at the pawn shop. Mac is taking her there. She's about to go pawn this ring, right? And she gets to the counter. Before she goes in a pawn shop, she leans over and she kisses Mac in the mouth. And I'm like, hold up now, Courtney. Now, is this the girlfriend or what? And then she looks at the camera that's in the car and says, oh my gosh, I forgot we were recording. I think that was a lie. She knew they was recording. Courtney is a fun time girl. She want to be with Will. She want to be with Mac. She want to do this and do that. She just got a lot going on. And the fact that Will is divorcing her, I think was a good play. But at the same time, like I said, you did it to yourself, Will. Okay. She goes into this pawn shop and she tells the lady behind the counter, y'all, that she wants $20,000 for this wedding ring. Now I'm like, Courtney, now come on now. Even if a person paid $20,000 for a wedding ring, that does not mean that you were going to actually get $20,000. But some way, Courtney in her mind thought that that ring that Will gave her was worth that. And she said she was going to try to pawn this little cheetah coat that Will had brought her that she got married in. Okay. The lady said $20,000. Okay, hold on. The lady went and tested out the ring and she was like, listen, I don't want the baby cheetah and I don't want this ring. Basically, bye, I can't help you. I was like, child, so the ring is not even real, right? So Courtney was mad about that. She goes outside and she calls her mom. She gets on the phone and she's like, hey mom, how are you? And the mom is like, yeah, what's going on? She says, listen, I need some money. Now, I don't even like the way that Courtney did this, and this is what made me think that the mom is absolutely right with what she said to her. She didn't even say, hey mom, how you're doing? I've been fine. You know, I got out of jail and everything the second time. I'm on my way. I got a room. I got a job. She just let her know that she didn't get her check first. So can she help her out with some extra cash? The mom goes and says, you know, that's the only time you call me is when you need extra money and extra cash. And I don't like it. And I don't blame the mom. It's like you're only using your mother for daggone money. At this point, Courtney is using everybody for what she can use them for. She's out here trying to survive. So she got to play gay outside with Mac. She'll do that. If she got to let Mark rub up on her booty with his creepy self, she'll do that. She's about to do anything to get a dollar. And it's really messed up. Okay. This is what's going on, Luna Rose. This is the review for Life After Lockup that comes on Friday nights on We TV. Okay, go ahead and subscribe and like this live. Okay, so the mom is saying, listen, Courtney, I can't help you. I cannot help you this time. I'm not going to bail you out. And Courtney is like, all right, mom, see you later type thing. Okay. Courtney then makes another phone call talking about she got another trick up her sleeve. And we was like, girl, what kind of trick you got up your sleeve, right? So she calls somebody else. And the other person says, she says she got to pay $600 a month for this room that she's renting. And so now she's going to end up getting money from this friend. Now, the producers didn't put up who this friend was because immediately I thought it was Mark, but they didn't put Mark on the screen. So Courtney probably has another sugar daddy that she's dealing with, okay, that's going to help her out. She just get money from everybody and she's desperate. And when you're desperate for money, you are 9 times out of 10 willing to do anything. And that's a dangerous place to be. Fast forward, we pan to Will. He's doing a video cam saying that he's on his way to Portland where Courtney is at to serve her with divorce papers. Okay. And so Will find out what happens once he get to Portland, if he's going to serve the papers, because the producers had asked Will, you know, are you sure you want to go through with this divorce? And Will was just saying, you know, I don't know. Now, I'm like, come on now, Will. Do you want to divorce the woman or you don't want to divorce the woman? He says he has love for Courtney, but then he turns around and says, I don't know if I really want to go through with this divorce. So we shall see what goes on with Will and Courtney. In my opinion, I think Will just needs to cut his losses, go on about his business. Courtney needs to live her life. I don't want to see this couple no more. They're done as far as I'm concerned on Life After Lockup. I don't even really, they shouldn't even got on Life After Lockup for real, but they got on it, and we should just not see them anymore. We're done with them. Okay. Next couple is going to be Mike and Justine. Okay. Another boring couple that don't have anything going on. I don't even know why Mike and Justine got back on this season. I don't know who likes them in the producer or the writers world, but they're back and they don't have nothing going on. So Mike tells his mom that he feels like he opened up a wound that Justine had closed in her relationship with her mother, and he feels bad about it and all of this. Okay, fast forward, he's about to go take his daughter Melanie driving. Okay, she's about to learn how to parallel park. Melanie doesn't do so good. She runs over a couple of cones. Okay, and most of us who have driven or had to learn how to parallel park, all of us have ran over a cone or two or did something When I was learning how to drive and I parallel parked, I mean, I didn't really hit no cone. I kind of got in there pretty easy, which I shocked myself. Okay. But Melanie, not so much. So while they're out doing their drive, Mike starts talking to her about her fighting. They keep bringing up the fact that she was in the fight. He sees a lot of himself in her. He doesn't want her to repeat the mistakes that he made when he had to get locked up and go to jail. He told her that he is on parole until 2042. And I'm like, dang. And my thing is, if he was on parole that long, how was that for that long? How were they able to move to Las Vegas? That is kind of weird to me. But Mike said he's on parole until 2042. Okay. Melanie starts crying, and Mike is like, why are you crying? And she's like, because you were locked up. I didn't get to have time with you. I had to defend my siblings. Basically, Melanie is telling us that she had to basically be there and do his job while he was locked up serving time. Okay. Fast forward from 10 to 17, Mike wasn't in Melanie's life. And so she has a lot of things that she needs to work out, probably through counseling. Fast forward, Mike and Justine, they go outside and they have a little talk and everything about this whole issue between them two, about him wanting to put the barbershop before their wedding. Mike says, listen, I want to make you happy, so I'll put the barbershop on hold and we can have the wedding. Justine is smiling because they're going to have this wedding. He says, we're going to have to scale it back though. And that's it. Again, they don't really have nothing going on. I don't know why they're on this show. Let's move on to the next couple, which is going to be Troy and Z, another couple that could have stayed off of this show, but we did get to see Miss Karen. Okay. Troy is headed to see his family in Buffalo. He's driving in the car. Okay. The first stop, he said he's going to go to his mom because his mom always knows where his little brother is at, right? So Troy pulls up and we see Miss Karen. He's asking Miss Karen about the brother. Miss Karen is saying, I don't know where he is. I don't chase grown people. Okay. She said that your little brother is 26 years old. She said, what I look like going around chasing some grown people? And you know what? Miss Karen may have been high and she may have been a little tipsy in this episode, but I agree with Miss Karen. I'm not about to sit up here and be chasing no grown people. Do I wish the best for you? Yes, I wish the best for you. Am I going to pray for you? Yes, I'm going to pray for you, but I'm not going to be out here in these streets looking for you. You have already been raised. If you don't have enough sense to, try to get your life together, try to do things, I can't do it. Okay. However, Miss Karen, you got to take ownership for the fact that you did not properly raise your children in a way that you wouldn't have to put yourself in this situation further in the future, like you are now, having to worry about them in jail and out in the streets and all over the place. Okay. However, she did say, hey, they're grown at this point, and they are. You can hold your parents accountable for certain things at a certain point, but at a certain time, you have to grow up and take accountability and ownership over your own life, what you have chosen. All right. All right. So Troy goes from Miss Karen. He says, listen, she tells him, listen, I got weed. You want to get high and all of this. I'm like, see, Miss Karen, like, how is somebody supposed to take you seriously? So, Troy says, no, I don't want none of that. He leaves his mom and she says, okay, fine. I don't chase grown people. He ain't no baby. I'm about to go have a cocktail. So Troy drives off and goes to his sister's house. They're up here about to go see their other brother gravesite. Now they have another brother named Thomas who got gunned down a long time ago. I think back in 2008, I think they said. And this is why I'm trying to understand why they had to work this into this whole storyline. And that's what I'm saying. They don't have a storyline. They're just picking anything to put in the show for them because they don't have nothing going on. Because he died back in 2008. I mean, I guess y'all could go see his gravesite, but why do we need to see that? It just didn't make no sense to me. Okay. So Troy goes and pick up the sister. The sister, they finally get a hold of the brother Vaughn, who is 26. They all go over to Thomas's gravesite. While they're in the car, Troy is up here trying to speak life into the siblings and stuff while he's up here smoking this gigantic weed blunt. I'm like, sir, how you trying to be an example and you up here smoking weed and blowing the smoke all in the camera and blowing the smoke all in the car and everything, and you can't tell me that he didn't pass some of that to his younger brother? Because when the younger brother was seen on camera, he looked tired and high and everything, just beat up by life, right? And so that's why I can't take Troy seriously. I'm like, you can't pour into nobody and try to be a mentor to nobody because you ain't even right up here. So they get to the gravesite. They reminiscing over the brother that he got shot 6 times in the chest and 1 time in the back. That's how he died. Troy says his father told him that the brother had died and he took it really hard. And even to this day, he's taking it hard. We see Troy crying and everything like that. His little brother starts crying and he dipped down and touched the tombstone or the placard. And he said, his little brother said, I will see you in a minute. That kind of made me raise an eyebrow because I'm like, what do you mean you'll see him in a minute? Like, are you planning on doing something to yourself? Or are you about to get involved in a lifestyle where you know it's going to lead to that? I don't know. But that was kind of crazy to me when he said that. Troy's little brother looks older than him. He looks tired. He looks high. He looks beat down by life. Like this dude, he looks older than me, his little brother. And it was just horrible to see. Troy walks away and he starts crying. He's really hurt to be at his brother's gravesite. And this is why I'm like, why do we have to see this particular scene? But because they don't have anything going on with him and Z, they're just going to have to they're trying to put anything so that they can have a storyline. But anyway, let's get off of them, moving on to the next couple. Thank you all for being here. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and like the video. All right, y'all, let's get into Brooke and JK. Is that the last couple? Let me make sure I got all the couples before I get into Brooke and JK because that is the last one, and they had a lot going on this episode. It was kind of crazy with them two. Yeah, that's the last couple because we didn't have, thank God, we didn't have the other couple that ain't got nothing going on. Okay, yeah, Brooke and JK. Let's get into them. Okay, so Brooke is up here calling her mom and asking her mom to go with her to the doctor to get this blood test because y'all know Brooke think that she might be pregnant. She might not be pregnant. Remember, she took the pregnancy tests that said that 4 of them said she was pregnant. 2 of them said she wasn't pregnant. So she calls her mom and asks her mom to go with her. Her mom is like, yeah, I'll go with her. When the mom pulled up, the mom had a baby with her, and that is the mom's other child. That is her other grandchild. The mom looked like she is tired, like she's just she is sick of taking care of all of these kids. Okay. And so the mom pulls up and she's like, okay, I'm going to go with you to get this blood test. JK now has a job, Brooke let us know, and he's also off of his ankle monitor, okay? And so now that he's got a job, he off the ankle monitor, we all know that JK is out there in the streets just doing what he wants to do, okay? Brooke mom said, I'm sorry, hold on. Brooke mom said that JK is acting like her son, okay? That when they stop coming around and communicating, that means that they are using. All right. Now they're trying to put the narrative on JK that he is using some type of drugs. But as we get later on talking about them, that very well may be the case with JK based off of what we've seen on this episode. Okay. Next, we see JK. He has a truck and he is leaving Alex's house, his ex-girlfriend. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing over there, JK? Right? So Brooke is calling JK. She's leaving him a message saying, hey, I'm out to go get a blood test to see if we are actually going to have a child, or if we're not going to have a child, you need to call me back and all of that. So I don't know what happened to Brooke Carr, but when we saw Brooke Carr and she pulled up at the blood test place, it looked like she had been in some type of accident. Brooke just seems trailer park trash and ghetto to me. That's what she screams because her house is jacked up. Her car is jacked up. She always looks like she's dirty. I don't know what's going on with her. Okay. So Bonnie, once she gets rid of the from the blood test, she goes back to her house. Her mom gets in her truck and leaves, and then we see Bonnie at the house clearing out her things because y'all know after Bonnie has spilled the beans to JK that Brooke don't have a job. Of course, Brooke called her last week and said, basically, get out of my house. I can't believe you told him that. So Bonnie's clearing out the rest of her house. Brooke is talking to her and saying, you know, if you would have kept your mouth closed, we wouldn't even be in this state. You would still be my roommate. Bonnie says she's tired of being in the middle of JK and Brooke's situation. And she says, you know, we gonna be a happy family and all this other stuff. So Bonnie says, if you only knew, right? Joseph says, I guess in JK's mind, he's single, even though he has a baby on the way. He still doesn't want to be in a relationship with her anymore. Yeah, so true. But Brooke did this to herself, right? Because you, like Will did to himself, you did not know this man. You talked to him. He gave you prison talk in prison. When he got out, especially when he got off the ankle monitor, got a job and some wheels, you weren't going to see that man anymore. Okay. So Bonnie says, if you only knew that y'all were going to be together, or if you only knew what was really going on. And so Brooke is like, what do you mean? So then Bonnie drops the ultimate bombshell of the episode. She says that Alex just miscarried JK's baby. And I was like, what? When she said that, I was even looking like, wait, what? So Bonnie said, and even Brooke was like, how do you know this? You know, Brooke was looking like she didn't believe her. Bonnie said they've been talking since JK got out. And Brooke was basically like, how do you know this? I can't believe you because I was with, basically she was with JK the whole time at his mom's house and all of that, right? Bonnie says, she told no Bonnie said that she spoke to Alex yesterday, and she told her that she had a miscarriage, that she had sent her the hospital documentation and everything. Brooke is saying, well, why you ain't tell me? And I'm like, Brooke, Bonnie doesn't have any loyalty to you, in case you have not noticed. She is JK's friend. She could care less about you, right? And so Bonnie is like, I just found out yesterday. I just didn't think to tell you. Brooke is in denial. She's up here saying, well, it's probably not true. I don't believe you. All right. Brooke is mad at Bonnie. Telling some, yeah, well, go on about your business. Bonnie is like, well, y'all need to get y'all stuff together. Wish y'all the best. Brooke is like, B, we don't need your wishes. They just have a really nasty mouth in this area of Texas where they live at, especially JK and Brooke. The way that they talk in front of their elders, they just cuss and just say all type of crazy stuff and don't even care. When Bonnie says, if you only knew, why did I think about the Patti LaBelle song? Right. Exactly. So Brooke calls Kathy. Now Brooke is on a mission. She calls Kathy. Kathy answers the phone. Kathy at her second job. And Brooke says, well, I'm about to come over there and see you. So she got to Kathy's second job, right? And I was like, Dad, Kathy got two jobs? That's just crazy. I wonder, does her husband work? Because it seemed like that he don't do that, he always be at the house. I don't know. Maybe he's on disability or something. I don't know. But anyway, Kathy comes out of her job, right? Kathy can barely move. All right. Then she says, well, let's go over here and sit down. I said, Kathy, I know you're not about to sit on that curb. Yes, she did, y'all. She sat down real slow on that curb. I said, child. I said, who won't get Kathy up off that curb? I'm just telling you, I would have been like, let's go sit down nowhere. I would have had to find a bench, because if I'm Kathy's size and her age, I'm not about to stoop down on no curb. But anyway, they sit down on the curb. Brooke is telling Kathy that Alex just had a miscarriage from JK. And even Kathy was like, now, wait a minute. How do you know that that's true? She said, well, Bonnie told me, and she was just like, I don't know. I don't believe that. So Kathy then says that JK looked like he is on something, because she had videos of JK. So videos show JK on the porch, Thomas, like he could barely keep his words together and everything. And I'm just like, is he on something? I don't know. But according to the videos, it looked like that JK is on something. Joseph said, I can't even say hell right without fearing that they would give me right a death stare. Right, exactly. They just nasty. The way she was just cursing in front of Miss Kathy. JK had did the same thing. She does the same thing in front of her mom. Like, they just have a nasty mouth. And so Kathy shows Brooke the video, and Kathy starts getting emotional, because she says that her biggest fear is that she's going to have to bury JK if he continues down the path that he's continuing down. And what's crazy is that while Kathy is getting emotional and crying, Brooke is just such a cold-hearted evil piece of work. She didn't even like try to rub Kathy's back or give her a hug. Kathy says, I'm sorry for crying, and Brooke is like, oh, it's okay, I understand. Like, it was just so cold and unemotional that Brooke was giving her, because Brooke don't really care about Kathy tears or how she feels. Brooke just wants to know if she can get JK back and keep him under her control. She don't care nothing about nobody's feelings at all. The only thing she's concerned about is herself and how to get JK back. All right. What else? Brooke, hold on, y'all. Brooke also thinks that Alex is making JK do drugs. Brooke immediately keeps blaming other people for JK's decision. How about JK does what JK wants to do? Alex may not have anything to do with him. So Kathy says, you know what you need to do? You need to call Alex and get to the bottom of this. You need to have a conversation with her. And when Kathy was getting up, like I said, she could barely get up off that curb. I thought she's about to fall. I said, Lord Jesus. And then Brooke, I don't even think Brooke was trying to help her. I said, this girl is a nasty piece of work. So Brooke gets in the car and she has called Alex and says she's on her way to go see Alex. Okay. And that was the end of this episode of Love After Lockup, season 6. Episode 4. Again, it was a pretty good episode. I gave it a 7. Y'all let me know, replay watchers and live watchers, what y'all gave it. I thought it was a pretty good episode. Couples that don't need to be on here, like Z and Troy, Mike and Justine, really Will and Courtney is on their way out, because once he serves of the divorce papers, that's the end of them, unless they're going to try to stretch it out. Also, what's their name? Letitia and Keith, they weren't on this episode. I'm so glad they don't need to be on the show. The only couple that has anything that I'm even remotely invested in is Brooke and JK, and possibly Demadre and Kiana and Joella. But really, this whole cast ain't got much of nothing going on. But even with that being said, this episode was still a 7 for me. Okay. If y'all have not done so already, go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I will be back tomorrow with Motivational Monday. Okay. I also will be back on Tuesday, and I'm going to give you all the updates. I was supposed to have done that last week, but it was a busy week last week. I'm going to give you all the updates on the case about the Pelletier, Giovanni Pelletier. There is a lot of updates that came out about his passing, and so I wanted to do a quick little video and give you all the updates on that. It was a lot of shocking things that came out that I found out about this case, and so I'm going to give you those updates on Tuesday. And yeah, y'all, I'm trying to prep and get ready to do reaction videos, and so if you like reaction videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to get into that definitely in September, y'all. Definitely in September, we're getting into reaction videos, so make sure you're subscribed, and when you subscribe, make sure that your notification bell is on. Okay, thank y'all for being here. I love y'all so much. Until we meet again, bye.